We're going to now do a demonstration of a preparation. We're going to do a bite registration, powder the bite registration, take optical impression, then do a optical impression and powdering of the preparation itself. We're preparing tooth number 29. Start first by using depth cuts. That burr is 1.2 millimeters wide, 2.75 millimeters long. We'll go across from buccal to lingual, and then from mesial to distal in a couple areas to determine the depth of our preparation. Using this technique, it's not necessary to check the occlusal clearance by having the patient close, as we've determined each time just by default that we have the adequate amount of reduction. You can see the slices there. Next, we come in with a large inverted cone, and we'll continue to widen the areas where we made our cuts, and we'll remove the rest of the occlusal surface. As you can see, it comes off quite easily. There'll be certain areas that will just kind of fleck away, and we're continuing to flatten our preparation, making it as smooth as possible. And that large inverted cone does a very nice job of smoothing it up quite easily. We're now going to go in with a large round burr and a slow speed handpiece to remove the remaining caries. It's not necessary with CEREC to do buildups on preparations, as the porcelain of the restoration will actually act as the buildup. The more surface area that you can actually have bonding the porcelain to the tooth is going to make for a stronger restoration. So now to have the caries removed, and we're going to go in with the flat-ended tapered diamond to prepare a facial shoulder. This diamond is 1.2 millimeters at its base, which gives us our recommended width for a shoulder on a CEREC restoration of 1.2 millimeters. If you notice, we're going to try to stay super gingival if at all possible. That decreases our retraction hemostasis time and allows us to finish our margins much better, as well as to be able to see them, see if there's any staining or any pitting that might occur, which is very seldom with CEREC. Now we've prepared the buccal, now we're preparing the lingual. Just making nice, smooth, flowing areas, no sharp internal angles, no sharp external angle. Then we're going back in and flattening out any areas on the occlusal of the preparation so that we have an area that CEREC can mill very easily to it. Next, we're going to check our preparation. We'll remove our isolation materials, and we'll be taking a bite registration. To take a bite registration, we use Patterson bite registration paste, which is a very fast-setting occlusal registration paste. Sets very hard in about a minute. Usually you can remove it in less than a minute. You want to dry the preparation and then extrude enough material to go and catch the buccal and lingual cusp of the opposing tooth and have the patient back down. Then with a plastic instrument, you spread the excess to the buccal and lingual to lock the bite registration onto the tooth, as well as remove any excess to make it easier once you put your isolation materials in so that you do not inadvertently dislodge the bite registration. This is usually the time when the patient scratches their nose, and you can chat about the weather. The bite registration material sets very quickly, and once it is set, then we'll have the patient open their mouth. We'll place our isolation material and our bite block back in place. There'll be a little bit of the bite registration material, as you can see, that's sticking up a little higher in other areas, so we're going to go in with a barred Parker and remove that. We'll typically wait until after we have the isolation material in place. For this case, we're using the silver-sided foil triangles. Some people call these dry aids, some people call them cheek pads, and just removing the amount that might come up and touch our camera lens as we're taking our optical impression. The next step is going to be to use the CEREC liquid. After we dry the area, we paint on the CEREC liquid, which is actually a glycerin-based material, which allows the powder to stick better to the tooth. We air dry that very thoroughly. It's important that that be done very thorough, or the powder will actually be darker in those areas. And we're coming back in with our Powder Perfect, and we start from the area away from the bite registration so we can get the flow proper. And we go back from buccal and lingual to buccal to lingual, all the way moving towards the distal, getting the buccal, and then going over to the lingual. We'll go in and check with our mirror. We take our bite registration. We take a picture. Then we move a little bit to the mesial, take another picture. Move a little further more to the mesial, and take a third picture. We just recorded 3 pictures of the bite registration. We'll go in the cotton pliers and we'll remove the bite registration. You can see the area that's powdered as opposed to not powdered. Dry that area. Place a little bit more of the CEREC liquid. If we got an adequate amount of that, then we're going to air dry the area. Once again, it's important that that be very dry so that you don't get any dark areas of the powder. We'll come back in with our Powder Perfect. Holds very much like an air water syringe, very easy for us dentists to use. We're very familiar with that. And we powder that area. Then we go back in and check with the mirror to make sure we've got everything taken care of. And there's a little bit that's lacking on the lingual, so we'll come back in with our Powder Perfect and add just a little bit more there. Check that. Still just a little bit more necessary. We'll come back in a third time. You want to have a light coat of powder, light enough to cover everything to an equally reflective surface. Now we come in and we're going to actually take 6 pictures with our camera. We're taking our first picture. Then we're going to angle the camera to the mesial, take another picture, angle the camera to distal, take a third picture so that we can see the curvature as the adjacent teeth so we can establish our proximal contacts very good. We move the camera to the distal, take our 4th picture, then we're going to move the camera to the mesial and take another picture. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can see how easy it is to do CEREC.